Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 5000 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 5000. Enjoy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm KCReginaldjr.
The man J-Dub, a.k.a. Justin Waters.
Welcome to Underdawg Sportz.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank y'all for coming out tonight, listening to us crazy people talk what we like to talk about, which is sports.
Of course, we're going to get to the Chiefs versus Texans this week. We're going to talk a little bit about QB3 in Pittsburgh, but our headlines is starting off in Washington is what I predicted 2 weeks ago finally happened. Jay Gruden is unemployed, and Daniel Snyder has an interesting list of candidates in mind.
So here's my question. This should happen 2 years ago, as far as the firing of Jay Gruden. I ain't never liked him. I told you, I actually knew the dude from our arena football days, and he was a prick then. He was living off his brother's coattails. But
still is.
Him getting fired, and both of them, okay. Well, I'm not giving Gruden a pass. He won off of Tony Dungy's team, and then he didn't do
his team is 3-2
anyway.
right now, and none of us saw that coming.
Yeah, none of us saw it coming, but see, I'm
just saying.
Okay,
he's a better football coach to me because he's doing a heck of a lot better than what his brother ever did.
I agree with that, but here's the thing. Going back to his brother, thank God he got fired. I did have an issue with him every time. He never let – it was like when he came in, it was his way or the highway. So he never let RG3 really pan out. Like the minute he got hurt, RG3 is banished to put Kirk Cousins in, the more traditional quarterback. And two, you didn't let Alfred Morris pan out. Y'all started going running back by committee, and this is when Morris was healthy. And remember, Morris was a stud his first 2 years. He got slightly banged up his third year. He was a small back, and all of a sudden Gruden wants to banish him too. So both of them have been basically on NFL waiver wires for the last couple of years. And now you let Kirk Cousins walk, which he should have, for $80 million.
Yeah,
so
that was definitely a smart decision.
I agree, but they franchised him 3 times. They did 2 franchises in the transition tag. It was like, Lord forbid, either pay him a regular contract or let him walk, which he did. Bring in Alex Smith, he gets hurt, done. Then you draft Haskins. And let's be honest, Alex Smith was on a short lease anyway because he was on a short lease with y'all.
Can I interrupt real quick there? Can you imagine what Kirk Cousins would have been going through if he had been the quarterback in Washington still? Because Alex Smith was somewhat mobile. This line is atrocious, and Kirk Cousins isn't. Well, he would have been absolutely soup.
Well, let's start with that. You don't pay your best player, which is Trent Williams. So Trent Williams is still out there chilling. He's quietly being the new Le'Veon Bell and just sitting out there.
No, he's not quiet. He's telling the truth. I'm not coming to play for this team. I don't trust their medical staff. I don't.
But he's not on social media. The reason I'm saying that he's not on social media, he hasn't had any interviews. He just ain't showing up. Like, I'm cool. Y'all not gonna pay me. Cool. I won't show up because I don't trust y'all medical team. And what do? So now you're missing your best left tackle. You have a bunch of makeshift guys. Here's the problem I have. You have a great defense if y'all knew how to use them, because all them Alabama boys down there is ready to ball, including the kid that y'all cut. What was it, Ragland, if I'm not mistaken?
No, Ragland's still in Kansas City.
Okay, so what was the other Alabama boy that he got in trouble and now he's in Washington? I can't think of his name. Anyway, between that and the two defensive line boys from Alabama, they set. They just need a cornerback help, but the offense is atrocious, and y'all expected old man Peterson to go ahead and break for another 1,000 yards. That ain't happening with no line. Jay Gruden, what are you doing, dude? Then, the topic of discussion. Let me ask you this. If you draft a quarterback, first round, top 15, do you play him or you let him sit in today's NFL?
Depends on who's the incumbent. If it's Alex Smith, I let him sit. If it's Case Keenum, what the hell do I got to lose?
Thank you. So you now, the last game, you put in your third string, Colt McCoy, America's favorite third stringer.
Well, listen, I still like Colt, but Gruden deserved to go. I'm really more interested in talking about this list of candidates that Daniel Snyder is choosing from, that he's made public.
Yeah. So the four names that popped up on this list when ESPN and Fox, they both on separate articles, that the four names are David Shaw from Stanford. You have Todd Bowles, former Jets head coach, now defensive coordinator over there in Tampa. You have your guy, Eric Bieniemy, who's the offensive coordinator over at KC. And then my guy, Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers head coach.
Hold on. So, I like how you put your guy last, like he's the best of that list.
I didn't say he was the best.
Oh, okay.
He's my guy.
Oh, okay.
He's my guy. I don't give a damn what you say. That's my guy. I've
ride or die.
To keep him. Ride or die with him.
Pittsburgh's favorite son strikes again.
Hey, I don't give a damn. Hey, you ride as much as you ride with PM15. I'm gonna ride with Coach.
Nothing wrong with it.
So the thing is, what do they all have in common? They are all African American, and that's kind of weird to me.
Why?
So Daniel Snyder has never been on the Rooney Rule. He's never sat there and even interviewed for a black coach. He's never even picked a black coach. And the several times that he's had to fire and hire coaches between North Turner, Gibbs in his little stint again,
but really,
and Gruden.
Who would you have rather had? The only coach that I had an issue with is Gruden, because he just got in on his brother's coattails. He had Marty Schottenheimer, Joe Gibbs, and crew. These were all established coaches. These were all coaches.
They're all old.
It doesn't matter. He was trying to facilitate winning, and these guys have track records of winning. So I wouldn't call it a racist thing. I just call it those guys had success. They were desperate for success because that franchise really was bad after really in a bad spot after they won their last Super Bowl. So you want to bring someone in who can actually win, who has that track record of at least making me good. Marty got him to 8-8. I mean, these guys kept him around 500. These were established guys, and this franchise was atrocious before they got there.
The franchise is still atrocious. Here's the other issue.
Now, because they let Gruden run into the ground.
Here's the other issue. Well, no, let's take one back. Because Mike Shanahan didn't really exactly, he didn't actually put on a show either. I mean, he brought Donovan McNabb in when he was on his last legs. That didn't work. You draft RG3, but you draft Kirk Cousins in the same draft. Still to this day, one of the most peculiar moves I've ever seen, is drafting two quarterbacks in the same draft.
Well, that means that he didn't pick RG3. He picked Kirk Cousins.
Exactly. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because now we have an issue that's repeating itself just, 6-7 years later? Because, as mistaken, the coach did not want the quarterback, but the owner wanted the quarterback, meaning Dwayne Haskins. So you basically go ahead and give the coach The coach is sitting there and gives Dwayne Haskins a hard time. You put him in the dumbest situations. Your first game, then you bench him, then you put him third string. So you go from first to third string without even having repetitions with it. He never had even reps with the first string outside of preseason. It's always been Case, then Cole, then Dwayne. So I don't even know why Dwayne was second on the depth chart. But going back to the black situation, the black coaches, all of them would be great moves, but I would never take that job.
Why?
Washington was not. I would not take the Washington
I've been
job.
making this argument with you all day.
As long as Daniel Snyder is the owner, that team will not succeed because Daniel is like baby. Daniel is baby Jerry Jones.
I disagree. They have a lot of pieces in place that's a good job. They just need an offensive line and some receivers for Haskins to throw to.
Okay, if they need an offensive line, why aren't they paying one of the best?
It's not about money. He's not holding out for money. He's holding out because he doesn't trust their medical staff.
And a new contract.
He doesn't care about the money. He don't care about the money. He don't want to play for that team.
So with that being said, you're mean to tell me that any of these guys, if I was Tomlin, I would definitely, unless the Steelers fired me, I would definitely not take that job.
Well, I'm not saying Mike Tomlin should take the job, but if I'm Eric Bieniemy, I like this job. It has a lot of interesting parallels to Kansas City. It really does.
How?
You have a young quarterback. You have somebody there to groom them. Now, if Alex plays again or not is very questionable, but he's still in that organization, and he can still help groom this young man. Again, he's still in that organization, and he can help groom this young man. So, regardless of if he never plays again,
Alex will be the next Kellen Moore. He'll be probably a great offensive coordinator. Alex's
exactly. That's what he needs him to be, though. He needs Alex to show him how to study, how to prepare, just like Patrick needed. It's a lot of interesting parallels to that job in Kansas City. They just need an offensive line and some receivers. They have a pretty good defense.
If I was Eric Bieniemy, you know the job I'm taking? Cleveland. Freddie Kitchens ain't going to last.
Yeah, I would hold out for that job too.
You take that Cleveland job because Baker Mayfield, although erratic,
I don't trust
him. If you get him with a good offensive coordinator, you have the workhorses.
Well, Kitchens is a good offensive coordinator.
Kitchens is an offensive line coach that became a head coach because the organization was too cheap to go ahead and find a head coach.
It wasn't about
a real head coach. It was about the money.
Baker liked him.
Bruh. Okay, so Baker likes him. Congratulations. Every time a coach and a quarterback like each other, sometimes it's a disaster. I.e., look at my Pittsburgh Steelers. Todd Haley and Ben didn't get along. We get rid of Todd Haley. We bring in Randy Frashner, and then look at our offense right now. This shit don't work. We don't do trick plays. We're predictable as hell. That's another day. So I ain't hearing that. If you the head coach, you make them two get along. I do blame Tomlin for that. He didn't make them two get along, but of course it's a players-driven league, so the quarterback will go before the coach. That's easy. So the Redskins' position with those 4 black guys, yeah, if you're the enemy, go ahead, take it, because you've never had a head coaching job before. Get your feet wet.
I don't like that you say it like that. I think this is going to be a good job.
I think you're tripping. They're still going to be fourth in the AFC. In the NFC.
The worst part about this job is that you're going to inherit Bruce Allen, but you have a lot of pieces.
And he's not a good GM.
That's the worst part of this job, is that you got to inherit him. But if things don't turn around, you're not going to inherit. He's not going to be there long. You're not going to be the scapegoat because he's the control. He's the control group. If I replace the coach and the team still sucks, it's not the coach, it's the general manager. So I got to get rid of him.
So let me ask you this. If any of these guys want this job, would you take it? Would you give them, only way I'm going to take this job if I have total power?
Well, you're not going to get it. And it doesn't matter if you got it because, again, this is the National Football League. There's only 32 of these jobs available, and currently only one is actually available. So when is your opportunity going to come?
So basically you're saying, okay, Just go ahead and take it because it's the next spot.
I'm not saying that. I don't make a decision now. I don't do that at all. I wait until after the season and see what's out there. But, again, I think this is a good job. Anyway.
So this would be your first choice, too? I don't know. It's just I don't see that.
I think you can rebuild this offensive line a lot faster than you could go to a Miami and win. That's what I think. Because that job is going to be available real soon, too. Anyway, we're moving on to the NBA in China. This thing is blown up really quick since Daryl Morey sent a tweet that insulted the Chinese culture of dictatorship. And the NBA's relationship with China has been suspended, and a lot of money is on the line right now.
So I'm going to start off. I got to apologize to you because I was the one that sat there and said this should have blown over. This is not going to be this serious. And then it literally has become a monster. I mean, it's taken away millions of dollars when they're taking away full building paintings and everything of showing that the NBA teams. I'm like, wow, they're taking that away. They took away the NBA Cares event and the shoe companies that were nigging. I was like, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, this game should be – I don't know how many hours they're ahead of us. But this game should be today their time now. And
no
one knows if they're actually going to play.
On the flip, I think this, to me, has a little bit of political background. America's already having issues with China dealing with the tariff stuff and the guy in the orange guy in the office, Sheldon Renee Lance. They're already dealing with that. So anything that American says to tick off the Chinese government is just fuel to the fire. You're just adding wood to an already burning flame.
I agree.
And
I think politics has way too much to do with this.
Now, Adam Silver is not going to punish the guy for freedom of speech. That's just being real.
Well,
but
the Rockets thought about it.
The Rockets did. But here's the thing. They didn't act on it. I think if they would have acted on it, even if Silver wouldn't have been happy with it, if they would have acted on it, not even firing, just suspended him, I think this would have kind of blown over. But since Rockets didn't do nothing, Adam Silver said still freedom of speech. Now Adam has to go over to China to go ahead and kiss some butt. I'm like, yo, this is just crazy. This is crazy because
I told you when we started this conversation that this was going to get really big. The reason I told you that is because Daryl Morey's tweet was taking the side of Hong Kong, and if you're not familiar with the conflict over there, Hong Kong was originally a United Kingdom territory, and now they're trying to be sovereign. They're currently a Chinese territory, and Morey's tweet was basically wanting or advocating for the independence of Hong Kong from China. Well, China's a dictatorship, and they don't have a freedom of speech there. They don't have a freedom of expression there, and they're not going to take this lightly. So I don't know why the Rockets decided not to fire him. I kind of think that maybe it's a lot more political than what we know. I think someone got a phone call because I think he was on his way out.
Because I do say this, out of any of the teams in the NBA, the Rockets would be the number one team that has the most relationships with China because of the outlet. I mean, hell, we just watched them 2 weeks ago play the Beijing Sharks. And I'm just saying you would think that. The other thing I just read before, and that's another reason I was running late because I was in the truck. I was driving home. It's now affecting players trying to come over to China to play ball. Now, if they're already over there, it's one thing. To the point, Stephon Marbury had a comment. He took it off his IG since that point, basically saying America would need to butt out their business. The reason why is Stephon Marbury is also now a coach.
It's because a lot of money is in China. And
a lot.
And that's why I told you last week when it came out that I thought he was going to lose his job. The fact that the Rockets stood by him and now the league stood by him, there's $1 billion on the line here. And I don't understand, again, unless somebody got a phone call from the Oval Office. That's the only thing I understand because it makes no sense that all of a sudden the NBA is now a political operation who is commenting on how other people run their country. You didn't have a problem taking their money, so now you want to talk about how they're running their country and their affairs? No, you can't. You can't have it both ways. If you want their money, shut up and let them live their lives.
That I agree with, because it just doesn't. Here's the other thing. I don't think us, the NBA players, even thought it was going to be that deep. Because you look at some of the players they're asking, even James Harden. James Harden looked confused as hell, like, sorry. And I'm thinking James probably doesn't even know what the real significance of this is going to be.
And a lot of people don't.
Squad. But we now got to educate ourselves, because that relationship is separate. Now, of course, I've heard public opinion from clients and stuff saying, well, we don't care anyway. We in the States. We ball in the States. I was like, but the NBA is the most global sport out of the 4 American sports that makes a lot of money off of revenue. NFL, MLB does.
Especially
Hockey
in China.
doesn't. But mainly the NBA makes that money. So with that being said, yeah, you kind of shooting yourself in the foot. So we'll see how this pans out. But once I've seen the NBA players that have Chinese contracts, like with the shoe company Anta, which means CJ McCollum, Rondo, and Klay Thompson, who's their main guy, they all have their contracts on hold. I'm like, whoa, this is real big now. I mean, guys that had no say-so in it are now losing money.
They're being affected. And again, this is a lot bigger than anybody ever thought. It's one thing you don't mess with when you talk about a communist country is their foreign relations. If you mess with that, if you start second guessing that, all bets are off, because the Chinese feel like they have a legitimate claim to Hong Kong, and you supporting their freedom is really going directly against the Chinese dictatorship. So we are where we are.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So up next, we're going to talk baseball for once. The Houston Astros going into a winner-take-all game tomorrow. I'm thinking the Astros are going to win. They're sending their best pitcher out, Garrett Cole. However,
I thought Verlander was their best pitcher, though.
No, Verlander. No, he's not. He's very much overrated, by the way.
You know more than I do,
because there's a lot of people from Houston listening, so I can't say that. But hey, before he was an Astro, he was a Detroit Tiger. Okay, so that's the Verlander I hate. Okay, that's the Verlander I hate, because I'm a Kansas City Royals fan. So I don't hate this version of Justin Verlander. I'm just saying.
I don't get mad, because we had Garrett Cole, and he was so adamant about getting out of Pittsburgh. I was like, well, shit, get the guy out of here. We already suck. He ain't going to help.
I mean,
and he did. Now he got a ring. I'm actually happy for the guy. I'm just surprised that it look, the first 2 games, it looked like this was going to be a cakewalk.
Yeah, it should have been a sweep.
But I do say it's funny, when Mattress Mac all of a sudden put this bid out for $3.5 million, and all these Houston people were sitting there buying these mattresses thinking, if the Astros win, I get this for free. All right, because I have my the branch manager at my location. She did the same thing. She got a mattress, and she's watching every day. And ever since he put that bet on, it's like, hey, man, I think teams are actually gaining. I think they raised it like, hey, man, this dude in Houston put $3.5 million on his team. We definitely got to make him lose. If they win.
Mac does this every sporting event, man. He did it when they won the last time.
And he didn't. He not $3.5 million. He did not do it for $3.5.
Well, he did it for whatever he was giving away at the time.
Yeah, but he's doing that and 3.5. When he showed the cash, I was like, yeah, they're gonna be gunning for him. Hopefully the Astros win. Garrett Cole should be the one to close out. I think they'll win this one in the series. It'll make a great series. But then here's your problem: you go against the Yankees.
So, hey, now one thing we can agree. The one thing we can agree on is baseball fans, Houston, is I hate the evil empire. And the New York Yankees are the evil empire. If you play them, you better win. I'm an Astro fan. I'm all in. So anyway, tomorrow I think the Astros will win and advance to the ALCS. But like Justin said, the evil empire is waiting on them. All right, let's go to the Texans. We normally save them for last, but we're going to change things up just a little bit today because, quite honestly, who played the best last week? It was the Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson. Wow.
Hey, the kid came to play. I loved it. Hey, every single minute of it. First of all, before I'm going to say Watson, shout out to Will Fuller. Man, he balled out.
It was his
Fuller
world. The rest of us was just living in it.
Because at first I was like, okay, the first couple plays, bad coverage or whatever. Because Will Fuller is that guy. He gives you that one game per season if he can stay healthy. But this game was like, wow. You finally.
He was Randy
Moss. I can say this now. Wow. Yeah. For that game.
Yeah,
I can actually say this. If he can continue to play like that,
they'll be the Super Bowl winners.
Right. Well, I mean, they still got to have a running game, but that's another subject. But they have a solid number 2 now if Will Fuller can do it. Because, it's basically it's been D-Hop and then number 2 by committee. If Fuller goes here and plays like this and shows he's not a one-injury pony, hey, I'm liking this. And the line finally blocked. Houston Texans fans.
Was that the first time in his career that he wasn't sacked?
At least the first game this season. We were tracking how many sacks Deshaun Watson was having. He was on pace as the last couple of games prior to this one against the Falcons.
He was on pace being sacked 80 times.
To beat David Carr's sack record. You know what David Carr's sack record means? Your quarterback is about to be a punch-drunken person. It's basically your quarterback is about to be the opponent of Mike Tyson after Mike Tyson whipped your ass.
When he was 23.
When he was 23. And Deshaun Watson had some of them looks that was like, oh, this ain't good. But he balled, and the line block. If Tunsil plays like he did, I will never talk about how I think this was still one of the dumbest trades in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
If he keeps playing like that, I will renege my statement. Not to mention, other factor, Kenny Stills didn't play. He was hurt.
He did not play. And Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller balled. Deshaun Watson had 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, the third time in his very young career doing that, putting him on a list with very few quarterbacks in NFL history to have done that at least 3 times. So Deshaun Watson had a great game. The Houston Texans had a great game. A couple things that we're hearing is that Bill O'Brien did not actually call the plays for that game. And the second factor I want to throw in on that is they played the Falcons.
Yeah, now I'm not going to take away from it, but the Falcons haven't been good since the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
I think they're actually. I think they've been cursed. It's like after the Super Bowl was
cursed.
over,
They've had the longest Super Bowl hangover in history.
So, but let's just give it up to the Texans because they could have actually stunk it up. Remember, they had just lost to an undrafted motivated Cal Allen.
Okay, so what? It's still the Falcons. I don't want to get too high on what they did until we'll see this. We're going to get there. Never mind. They played a hell of a football game, and I loved everything Deshaun Watson did on that field. I love everything that his offensive line did. God knows I do after my game last week. And I'm a borderline Texan fan because I live here most weeks, but we'll get there later. I just don't want us to get drunk on the Kool-Aid and all of a sudden we're saving Bill O'Brien's job because, again, they're only 3-2, and this is a career 9-7 coach. That's what he does. With all this talent on this team, I do not believe that Bill O'Brien should be secure in his job if he finishes 9-7 again.
I agree with you with that because the fact of the matter is, with this talent, with this roster, now more experienced Deshaun Watson.
Having mortgaged the future with that trade?
Yes, having mortgaged the future with the trade. It's winner now. It's winner bust, actually, right now.
And in this conference, Was that trade worth it? At least until Brady retires.
Now?
Yeah, right now, at this
No.
moment.
The conference, maybe not. The division, yes.
I mean, the division's still up for grabs, even though they had one good game.
They're making it up for grabs. But technically, this should be a runaway because the Titans are not playing good at all. The Colts, they're playing surprisingly well. They are playing surprisingly well, even with the retirement of Luck. Jacoby Brissett, which we talked about before, is balling out. And then, Jacksonville, Jacksonville here today, gone tomorrow. But the stash is balling, but the defense is actually kind of disappointing this year in Jacksonville. And Jalen Ramsey saga is kind of old. It's like either trade him or just put him on the PUP for the rest of the season. Don't play him at all. But
so
him making an excuse every week.
I don't like how you're characterizing this division because with the addition of the stash and the way that Jacoby Brissett and the Colts are playing, this is all of a sudden a very competitive division, regardless of how good the Texans are.
Every division is competitive.
No. Not every
I ain't getting none of them past the first round this year, period. None, except the Texans. None. Not a single one of them can. You're looking at 3 wild card teams in the Texans that could possibly.
Listen,
I am definitely not saying Super Bowl.
The Colts have a good head coach.
Of course, Frank Wright's a great coach.
They have a good head coach and a disciplined football team. So this is not a walk-away division for the Texans. And I would hate to see all this talent wasted because Bill O'Brien and his ego are in the way. But if the rumors are true and he allowed his offensive coordinator to call the plays last week and they put up 55 points, Bill O'Brien should take the damn headset off, stump it into 1 trillion pieces, and never pick it up again.
He has to pick it up. He has to be the head coach.
No, he doesn't. Head coach don't mean you got to wear the headset.
Well, that's true, too.
Yeah.
But he definitely – here's the thing. The only thing I want to see with the Texans is the same thing we say about
consistency. The C word.
Right.
The good C word.
Because they could be – because this is just a proof. The week before, they could barely get over 20 points. This week, they scored 55, which is their highest scoring game probably ever. Even maybe going back to the Oilers days. I got to do fact check on that one. But then you go into KC with y'all, which kind of will segue to it, which should be an old-fashioned shootout. Should be.
Bro, I can't wait. Guess who's going to be there?
Well, you're going to be there.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, KCReginald is going to be in Kansas City rooting on
I'm going home. I'm going home. I don't own the rights to that music. Anyway.
So not ever. Both Frank Sinatra is probably going to be on your. Don't sing that no more. Don't do that.
Right.
No.
I'm not a singer.
So you're going home. Yeah. Just stop. Thank you. But either way, this should be an old-fashioned shootout against the 2 up-and-coming quarterbacks in the NFL.
One of these guys already have an MVP. I don't think he's up-and-coming. He's here.
Well, they're both young. I only reason they're up-and-coming because they're both under the age of 20. Under the age of 26, 25.
Patrick Mahomes just turned 24 last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Is it? Okay, well, shit, even better. But, yeah, because he's the second youngest. In fact, you're right, because he's the second youngest MVP in NFL history outside of Jim Brown, who won it at 21.
And 23. He won it twice.
And 23. Well,
before he was 24 years old. Good Lord. How do you do that? Anyway.
You just run against a whole bunch of white guys and just run past some shit. But, again.
You skipped the offensive line. We can't go to the matchup. We got to give them their credit, man. This is the most beleaguered offensive line out there. They have been atrocious. And they kept their quarterback from being sacked once. Again, I think it's the first time in his career that he hadn't been sacked.
Now, here's my question, because this is the one thing I want to do. Ask you. Okay. Who on the Falcons, outside of Grady Jarrett, that's a stud, is a threat?
So now you're taking my position. That it's just the Falcons.
Because I just looked at the stats.
Yeah.
They don't have a guy that has over 2 sacks. They don't have a guy over 3 sacks.
The Falcons stink.
Grady Jarrett is your D tackle, who typically, unless you're Aaron Donald, typically doesn't have a lot of sacks.
But he's a run stopper.
Is your run stopper, but he has a bunch of sacks.
Right.
Vic Beasley, who I thought he was a stud at Clemson, hasn't panned out. The kid, I forgot his name. The one he brought his grandma's picture up during the draft, and he was going to be the next one. I think he's from UCLA. I can't remember his name. He was supposed to be stud, nada. So this is my thing.
Why is their coach not on the hot seat? He did get the infamous vote of confidence this week.
That is a good question, because I'll be honest with you, Dan Quinn has made some very, very bad calls. That Super Bowl was very, very bad.
It was piss poor. There's no way they should have lost that game.
In Seattle days, he made bad calls too. And this guy still has a job.
As a head coach.
Okay, as a head coach. I'm actually kind of surprised at the two, because
okay, we're not a Falcons podcast, so the offensive line.
Yeah, that's why we're getting off of that, right? So the offensive line did their thing. Shout out to the offensive line. They kept him. They kept him from getting fat.
I mean, they played on turf, so he would have been clean anyway. But they kept him upright.
Somebody got in their ass and sat there and said,
"It's about time."
If y'all keep doing the way y'all doing, y'all going to be having to worry about using a backup. And I can't even tell you who the hell the backup for the Texans is right now. So if whoever it may be, that's what you're going to do. Y'all won't win with him. So keep the guy up. Keep him upright. Keep him standing. Do not let him get killed. Help him get the ball to D-Hop and Fuller and all those other guys, and let's win this game. And they did. They came out and ball. I think the Carolina game put a reality check in there. Like, y'all not as really good as y'all think y'all are, because y'all just lost into an undrafted free agent quarterback. So y'all need to get y'all shit together. Y'all need to get y'all stuff together and ball out. And they did.
They did. And listen, I thought I was watching Patrick Mahomes last week when I saw Deshaun Watson. And looking at how Patrick Mahomes played, I think that he might have put a judo curse on Patrick to steal his body for a game. And I hope it was only for a game. But yeah, Deshaun balled. The Texans balled. Shout out to that offensive line. They absolutely balled. You were trying to get to this. We're going to come back to it because we got it. Let's just do the Chiefs and then combine the preview together, okay?
Let's get it.
All right. Yes, we're saving the Steelers for last. The whole 3 Steelers fans that are listening out there.
We deserve it. We got more than 3 fans. So you really want to go there? Let's go. We're going to have some people call in next time talking about Steelers, okay?
Yeah, let's have them. We can – well, I was going to try to put it on Facebook Live, but I realized that I wouldn't be able to get your sound because you're not here. Anyway, so the Chiefs lost last week. They got their butts handed to them. I'm going to go ahead and say they got their asses kicked in the trenches. They lost the game 19-13, and it looks like an old-fashioned run the football defensive slugfest that they lost. But they lost in the trenches, and they lost bad in the trenches, and I mean bad. I was embarrassed for both sides of the football. On national TV, they got bullied, they got abused, they got hammered in the trenches, and it was embarrassing. And I hope all of them were as embarrassed as I was as a fan to watch it.
The thing is well, you doing it as a fan. I don't think they played that bad. They do know people are now figuring out the matrix with y'all, and you've been saying
it's not a matrix. Okay, let's interfere with that. I was listening to Seth Kaiser today on the program on WHB 810 in Kansas City, and he made me realize something. This is not a formula. If the formula is Tyreek Hill is hurt, Sammy Watkins is hurt, Chris Jones gets hurt, And we have the worst offensive game in Patrick Mahomes' career other than Jacksonville. If that's the formula, then yes, of course, all that happening, you are subject to lose. But
no, the formula is the pressure.
So
of Patrick
it had
Mahomes.
nothing to do with Sammy Watkins getting hurt and Tyreek Hill not playing and Eric Fisher not playing. It had nothing to do with any of that, right? It was because they had control of the ball.
Your offensive line was opening up.
Okay.
It had everything to do with your offensive line opening up. You had no rhythm with the running.
So it had nothing to do with Damian Williams. It had nothing to do with Damian Williams alligator arming a football in the end zone that was a perfect pass for a touchdown, and we had to settle for 3. It had nothing to do with Mecole Hardman bobbling the catch that if he catches outright, he scores a touchdown. It had nothing to do with Sammy Watkins getting hurt. It had nothing to do with our number one receiver going into the game getting hurt before the first quarter was over. It had nothing to do with our actual number one receiver not being there. Oh, by the way, it had nothing to do with Eric Fisher not playing and Cam Irvin getting his butt kicked by Justin Houston, like Justin Houston still can get 22 sacks in a year. It had nothing to do with any of those factors.
I love how you get passionate about it, but you're repeating yourself. You said that twice. Again, your line didn't block, period.
So it had nothing to do with any of those other things then?
You have factors, but your line didn't block.
So
why is your quarterback running for his life?
We lost by 6. I just gave you 2 touchdowns.
Exactly.
Without the line blocking, we lost by 6. Mm-hmm. I just gave you 11 points.
But then you should have
won
the
game.
Butt kick. They got handed.
Oh, they absolutely got murdered in the trenches.
So you're basically
but what I'm also saying is this.
Not 46.
What I'm also saying is this. Even when we get our ass kicked in the trenches, we still should have won this game.
Should have, but didn't.
I'm just saying. Like,
and then y'all still,
if Patrick Mahomes has the worst game of his career, no. If Patrick Mahomes, that was the Jaguars game. If Patrick Mahomes is off, if Tyreek Hill is off the field, if Sammy Watkins is off the field, the Chiefs don't have a chance.
So here's the thing. Also, keep in mind, what was the one thing the Colts were doing? The Colts were motivated for. They were motivated behind Justin Houston. They wanted to beat the hell out of you because of Justin Houston. If I'm a former player, I'm going to play against y'all. I'm going to tell my guys, hey, yo, do this for me. Let's play up better. Let's go ahead and do this. You know this. If I sat there on the sideline and watched Patrick Mahomes for a whole season, unless he tweaked this game to be completely different, there some ins and outs. Let's just be honest. This is why a lot of times, if it's a rivalry game, the Patriots are notorious for it, they'll pick up players from a rivalry to go ahead and know all the little intricacies from their former team. This is just how that works. So, yeah, y'all missed the pass, this, that, and the third. You had some, but also in the note, Patrick Mahomes was running more than he usually had to run. He didn't have his release.
You're right.
He has a quick release.
He also lost his left guard.
So
he also has Cam Irvin as his starting left tackle.
And what am I saying again? The offensive line. We're on the same page. It's not like you're saying. We're saying the offensive line did not block.
Okay. Here's the thing. If you had Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown, what would the Steelers' record be right now?
With both of them?
Yeah.
At this point, we wouldn't have beat the Patriots, so we may be 3-2 right now.
So my Chiefs are 4-1, and Tyreek Hill hasn't played but one half of a football game this year.
Okay, but you also have a more mobile Patrick Mahomes that he even can't say that.
I'm sorry. That's my number one receiver. My number two receiver missed the entire game last week. Oh, my starting left tackle hasn't played since the Raider game. Oh, in the middle of this game, my starting left guard goes down. So now my entire blind side is a nightmare because we cut Jeff Allen the week prior. So now we got Ryan Hunter and Cam Irvin, rejects from everybody's team, as our left tackle and left guard. Oh, by the way, we still only lost by 6. Oh, did I tell you we also lost our best defensive player in this game?
So, again, and let me stress about the defense. Y'all missing Justin Houston more than y'all think.
No, we're not. We couldn't stop the run last year either.
It
was actually worse. So, no, we're not. I'm not. We're not. This guy still only has 5 sacks.
Now they're going to double and triple team. I keep telling you this.
There is no case for Justin Houston here.
And I know this. When they double team you,
not for $20 million.
On defense, if you're a stud, no, not for the amount. No, if you're
not for the $9 million he's making now.
But even if you're a stud, like Chris Jones is, if you have nobody else that's a threat on that line, that means I'm double teaming you and letting the other guy. Let's see what they'll do.
Well, Frank Clark had been keeping Chris Jones clean because he had been getting double teamed. But now that Chris Jones is hurt and now Frank Clark is the only pass rushing threat, he's now going to be double teamed even more. So, yeah, we're kind of screwed there.
And Frank Clark hasn't panned out to what his contract has been.
Bro, he's been double teamed all year.
Frank Clark hasn't been out to what his contract should be.
He's been double teamed all year, and he's allowed Chris Jones to flourish in the pass rush because of it. So
okay, so that goes back to my point because the same things happen to Aaron Donald now when his stats drop. It's because the fact of the matter when Donald had Sue, Donald can go to work because it's now one-on-one matchups or even one-on-two. But with Sue gone and no Quinn, that means they're going to, first of all, they're going to go ahead and have a double team on it. If he gets past it, now you got the running back or fullback, depending on how they play, chipping. So his stats are not going to have. I'll be the first one to tell you, I'd be surprised if Aaron Donald gets to 15 sacks this season because now it's all triple. Chris Jones is going through the same thing. He's not as talented as Aaron Donald, but he is one of the most talented. He's second behind as far as these tackles are concerned. So it's the same thing. So your defensive line is not up to par because they're hurt. Get it. The offensive line, so it's your line specialty. Now, with all the wide receivers and everything.
But listen, I told you our offensive line was garbage last week, and you were telling me that my offensive line was good, and they exposed that I was right. That's all they did.
They panned out the week before.
Well, and I told you, I watched this team. And because I watched this team, I know that this offensive line is an issue. It's because Andy Reid continually keeps thinking because he's an old offensive line coach that he can mold just about anybody to be inadequate. Cam Irvin got a freaking contract extension, bro.
Well, the reason why Andy thinks that, look at Jason Peters. Jason Peters was a former tight end that Andy could put some weight on and made into a Pro Bowl tackle.
Great.
So in his mind, he probably can do that.
That's wonderful. But right now, we have a legitimate chance of winning the Super Bowl. We literally have $20 million in cap room right now today. For us to be using people that the Cleveland Browns rejected, not the new Cleveland Browns, I mean the 0-16 Cleveland Browns, rejected as our starting offensive line because our head coach thinks that, well, them guys just couldn't coach. No, those guys are just not good enough. And I've been telling you, and it's nothing that surprises me. They are adequate at best when they are at their best. That's the problem.
So what happens next? But you're already, a quarter way through the season. Y'all 4-1.
And 40% of my offensive line is hurt.
So what do you do?
We signed Steven Wisniewski today. Or yesterday. Listen, they couldn't go back to Jeff Allen because Jeff was pissed off that he got cut. Because you cutting Jeff Allen meant to me that he was the 53rd best player on this team, and he was expendable to you. Well, Ryan Hunter showed you that Jeff Allen wasn't the 53rd best player on this team. Jeff Allen has been a contributor in Kansas City more years than Andy Reid, actually. And I'm a little bit upset that they released him in the first place. And as soon as they did, they were exposed. And now they had to go back, foot in their mouth, begging him to come back. And guess what? Jeff said no, so you had to go digging through the pile of what's left out there, and you take the Eagles' old offensive lineman that nobody wanted to pay this season. So, yeah, way to treat somebody, Andy.
So now what? So basically, let's go ahead and talk about y'all matchup this week. Yeah, have the home team.
We do.
I got the Texans.
We do. Before we go there,
you know what?
Hold on. Before we go there,
Okay.
we got to talk about another reason the Chiefs lost this game. Your favorite topic, actually, about the Chiefs and what they lack to do. Run the football.
They like to run the ball.
Yeah.
That's because y'all have too many people running the ball. Y'all never have rhythm.
So I need
Is
to
it going to be
back.
LaShawn today?
I need to say this because I'm not a fair weather fan. And I don't want
Okay.
anybody to get the indication that because the Chiefs lost, I'm hard on them. I'm hard on them when they win. I told Justin before we lost that game last week that our offensive line was trash. So, yeah, right now the wounds are fresh, and I'm going a little hard on them. Coach Reed.
Really hard on them. Lord Jesus.
Coach Reed lost his second best receiver in the first quarter of this game.
Okay.
He lost him in the first quarter. Do you think we decided to change up our game plan and start running the ball? Against
Coach Reed don't like running the ball.
Against the
Yeah, I don't have
second worst run defense in football. The only one that's worse are the Kansas City Chiefs. Why wouldn't you make an attempt to run the football?
That's not his style. He's not going to run the football. Although I did bring in LaShawn McCoy to run the ball. He definitely didn't do it to
He
pass.
fumbled in the open
So-
field.
Yeah, that's true too. But that's because LaShawn McCoy is still to
That
this
was
day.
another touchdown
had
that we lost.
Him running the ball. That's what killed Reggie Bush's career. LaShawn McCoy still hasn't got it either. When y'all run the ball and palm the ball, it's easy to smack out. LaShawn McCoy thinks he has the death grip from hell to keep on to the ball like that. That shit doesn't work. You better go ahead and put that bread right there in your chest and run like
Well,
that.
actually, this
But-
time he wasn't running like that. It actually was really secure, especially for Shady McCoy.
Yeah, because he used to do that in his pit
Yeah.
days and used to drive me insane.
Yeah, he absolutely. I mean, seriously, he for him, that was a well covered ball. They just popped it out, and but I told you that the week before when we won in Detroit. The game plan against the Chiefs now has to be to pop the ball out because they don't know how to not fumble. But back to what I was saying, Coach Reed really failed this team. The offensive line, the defensive line, they also failed this team. But I think they lost a little bit because of coaching and lack of adjustments because, again, this game was never out of control. This was never a game that we were down by multiple touchdowns. So it didn't take much for us to just start running the ball right back at them. They're just as bad as us at stopping the run. So let's see who can run better. Make an adjustment. I bet you your play action pass works a hell of a lot better if you hand the ball off a few times. Oh, I bet you buy Patrick Mahomes a couple ticks of a second longer if you run the ball a few times.
The other thing is y'all can't overextend Patrick Mahomes too. I think somewhat y'all keep running. I mean, y'all keep throwing
But that's what
plays
Andy
at
did
him.
to
It's like
Donovan
y'all gotta
McNabb.
balance it. Yes, and that is I totally agree with you it panned out. It was okay for him his younger years. Once Donovan started getting older,
Wait till
and the injuries
Patrick
started
Mahomes
mounting
turns 30.
that's when all of a sudden you're going to see that move. It's like, this may not be it.
Yeah. Anyway, so we got to run the ball. We need balance. So let's get to the main event of the evening. The Houston Texans, for the first time since I don't know when, are actually going to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. They're going to play my Kansas City Chiefs Sunday at 12 o'clock. Yes, I will be there. And if Justin would come over to the house, we could do a pregame, but he ain't going to do that.
Hey, you live in West Bumfuck. Fuck that. Anyways, quick question. Why? I want to know why this is in our primetime game. I mean, I can even say it to myself, that the Steelers and Chargers, even with Ben, if he was healthy and we were actually playing good, I would have took this game over our game as a primetime game. I just don't understand. It's the battle of the two, like I said, emerging quarterbacks.
Emerging? He's the MVP of the league. He has emerged.
But he's still okay. The emerged quarterback, the young quarterbacks, the future of the NFL. You want to keep going there?
Yes.
Every time I'm doing it, I'm adding quotations to it. So just imagine
that's fine. I don't have to see your quotations. You're not here.
I'm gonna go ahead and make sure to take a picture and do that. But anyway, that would be a primetime game. And y'all have basically, like you said, you mirrored each other because both of y'all have questionable offensive lines, questionable running games, great quarterbacks. Mahomes slight edge, okay.
Slight.
The Texans. There we go. The Texans have a better defense than y'all.
Hell of a better defense. I give props where props are due. Why won't you give them?
And right now,
slightly.
And right now they have a better receiver. The Texans have a better receiver just because y'all core is so.
And if 10 is, I still don't know if 10 is going to play.
They keep saying that. I don't think he should. If he's not 100%, don't play him. Period.
Well, I think he feels like he's 100%. He's been ready to go for 2 weeks.
But you know what? That's the thing. A player is always going to say they're ready.
That's why they won't take his word for it. That's why he hadn't played.
And then I think now every situation is always referencing back to Kevin Durant. Like, yeah, I'm ready, coach. And then next you blow something, and it's over for a whole season or more. So, just sit your butt down, be calm, be good. Fantasy football owners want him back. Luckily, I ain't drafted. But in the same note, yeah, we'll see. I think this matchup is going to be a great matchup, great for TV and what have you. I'm thinking a high score, so I'm going to say I'm going to go 34-27 Kansas City Chiefs.
Whoa, you're picking the Chiefs?
At home.
Whoa, that's a shot. Well, of course I have.
Yeah.
So
you're a homer. You're going for the Chiefs.
Well, I don't know if I can actually pick the game. I just kind of wanted to give the same thing you did. You gave it a build. You're absolutely right. The two quarterbacks that came out in the same draft, and one of them should feel slighted because the Kansas City Chiefs traded up, and I just knew they were going to be drafting Deshaun Watson. They shocked me in the world when they picked Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes have made do on that move. Deshaun Watson has been kind of looking in Kansas City like, what did he have that I didn't, Coach Reed? So I think this particular game means a hell of a lot more to number 4 than it does for number 15. Just that little side piece, because they absolutely, I'm just telling you, I just knew Deshaun Watson was going to be the new quarterback for the Chiefs. So with that being said, I'm excited to see this game. I think we're going to see like 1,000 passing yards on freaking Sunday. Like, I am that pumped for this game. It's going to be a beautiful day in Kansas City. My spouse is right again. The sun will be out. I'll be behind one of the goalposts. I haven't picked my seat yet because the prices go down the closer we get to game time.
Wait, you ain't about to sit here?
No.
Oh, wow.
They keep going down.
Prime time game.
They keep going down. They keep going down. I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna teach you my trick, but I can't tell the people on the world because then everybody gonna know. Anyway, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I haven't been to Arrowhead Stadium since I left Kansas City like 13 years ago, so I haven't even seen the renovations there. It's gonna be fun. I want to do a pregame. I'm probably gonna try to do it from my phone. I'm definitely picking the Chiefs 42-38 in a freaking all-out, guns blazing shootout, and I think I'm picking the score low. So I'm gonna go ahead and say 53-47. There will be 100 points scored on Sunday.
Well, time out. Hold it. If you're going that route, cool. Let's put a bet on that one. I'm gonna take the under, please.
No,
Chicken
I'm not.
butt,
You in these
dinner,
bets.
Red Robin
You
gift
are
card,
not
something.
taking
Come
my
on.
money.
No. You want 50 points. No. I want this one. Even if we gotta be like Skip and Shannon, I don't drink Mountain Dew. So I mean, y'all can just give me a bottle of core water or something, like a case of core water. I'm not 100 points. Please put that on there. Yes.
No, I'm not putting it on there. But I want to see a shootout because I haven't been in Arrowhead in over 13 years.
Well, somehow, some way, that the mist of Arrowhead, you going back, is still not going to have over near 100 points. I'm sorry, but
we'll
I ain't
see.
Take that bet. Come on.
I am not taking the bet. You're not taking my money.
Hey,
but the Chiefs are going to win by 6. Okay,
taking the bet.
That's all I know.
I'll give you the 6. KC Reg is not taking the bet. Come on,
I am
man.
not taking a 100-point bet in football. There is something like the Chiefs' defense hasn't been that bad. Like, seriously, on the low-key tip.
Then put some money where your mouth is.
Why would I put money on it if I'm saying their defense hadn't been as bad as everybody's saying they've been?
Hey, man,
I think they get stops more than people give them credit for. That's what I'm saying. Nah, I'm not betting. Let's move on to Pittsburgh. And the Steelers are now what's called injury central. I was talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and all the injuries that we faced last week. Let's talk to J-Dub about what the Steelers are going through right now.
Well, we're going through a lot. Shit, I ain't never thought we was going to go through this. But just last week alone, in the last 2 weeks, we've had Rudolph, who was destroyed by Earl Thomas in that horrible hit. Jalen Samuels is out a month. Washington's out a month. Mark Barron's out a month. Roosevelt Nix is out a month. Our fullback.
Hold on. You just brushed that hit off a little too easily. Can we?
Oh, no, I'm going back to it.
Okay.
Whoa, I'm going back to it.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm going back to it. But I'm naming everybody. So Vance McDonald's out. That's our starting tight end. Vince Williams, our starting outside linebacker. Terrell Edmonds, who was out, who's questionable, who was our starting safety. We are now losing second stringers. Forget first stringers. We're losing second stringers now. It's bad. And I don't know if I've ever seen the Steelers be this injury prone. I mean, this is just keep this in perspective. Has been probably one of the most controversial seasons in Steelers history, going and definitely in the Tomlin era. But I don't recall in my 38 years of living, 24 years of living in Pittsburgh, that I've ever seen this many injuries to a team, specifically even the Steelers.
Bro,
we're now
you're
down
all your injuries, but I think the only difference is our quarterback getting down. I think that's all the difference. I'm telling you, my starting left tackle, my starting left guard, my starting all-pro defensive tackle, his backup is down. I just got Damian Williams somewhat back, I think.
We're on third string. At least y'all on second.
Yeah.
So, but we're on guys that just got called.
Oh, I forgot about Hitchens.
We're back on the practice. We're getting guys from the practice squad. So you do realize now starting, we got Kelly, the safety Kelly, who just got his first pick. Congratulations to him. He was on the practice squad. Then they started him for whatever reason against Tom Brady, which was the dumbest move because this was forced to make a pick stats would say. But he's back. So he just came back from practice squad, so now he's back on there again. I mean, Hodges, okay, remember this, keep in mind, the opening day roster at quarterback is nothing what we had. Did not include him. He was on the practice squad. He had a couple great plays, he had 2 great games in the preseason, but he was the practice squad to now being an NFL starter, which makes me feel that the Steelers jumped the gun trading Josh Dobbs to Jacksonville. And Josh Dobbs is not getting any play time because he's the third string in Jacksonville, just like he's the third string in Pittsburgh. But we jumped the gun on that one. We should have kept Dobbs. I'll be the first one to say it. But now Jalen Samuels is hurt. Connor's still banged up. Now we got to go ahead with the Benny Snell error. So that was one of the topics. Of course, this is a running back. We got to see if this kid pans out. The Mason Rudolph hit was one of the most vicious hits I've seen in NFL history in a long time ago because the fact of the matter is, one,
I still contend Trent Green's hit was more vicious, but the way I would say is standing, where a guy was standing up hit, yeah, I definitely agree.
Because you got to realize Mason was yelling during that run play when Earl hit him. His mouth was wide open because he was yelling, so his jaw basically went into his head, basically went deaf, which basically knocked him out. It's just like boxing. If you uppercut somebody, that's the hit. Most people, if you get an uppercut, you knocked out. That's not like an easy blow, and that's exactly what happened with Mason Rudolph. To this day, do I feel Earl Thomas should get suspended? Yeah, because he knew what he was doing. I mean, he was trying to take it out. It wasn't intentional. Should he get suspended or fined? Yes. He has not got neither yet.
I mean, but your quarterback stepped up in the pocket, and he threw from an angle in which quarterbacks don't throw.
Right.
He thought he was Patrick Mahomes, and every time now that Patrick Mahomes does it, I cringe a little bit because of what happened to your quarterback. Because he does it all the time.
The thing is with Mason is that is our future right now. And the kid was still panning out. The two games he started, 3 if you count the injury game, he wasn't playing bad. Again, the interceptions he had were tips. Our guys weren't catching it. Now, if it was a full-fledged pick to wide open, then yeah, okay, we may need to be thinking about this come next season. But the kid was panning out. Now, they said he was at limited practice today. I don't want to play him. Definitely not playing him against the Chargers.
Rudolph practiced?
Yeah, he was in limited practice. I actually seen the
that's
footage.
Insane. This dude was knocked the hell out.
He was in practice. He was in limited practice. He wasn't in equipment, but he was in helmet and shorts.
He shouldn't have on a helmet.
Bro,
who are these doctors?
Hey, that's a good question. Now, I'm never going to go ahead and doubt my doctors at UPMC. Hell, I've had injuries myself, and UPMC has diagnosed them, and I'm still not complaining to this day. But with that hit, I wouldn't even want him to see the field. Now, he's a tough kid, just like when but he's a tough kid, so he wanted to walk on the field. But again,
with what we know about concussions now, for a month.
But here's the thing: he's not going to play. If I was Tomlin, I wouldn't even want him to travel unless it's an inspirational type thing.
The doctor shouldn't let him travel.
Well, if he's there at practice,
dude, he was knocked out, and he wasn't knocked out for a little bit of time. This isn't one of them. You knocked out, and by the time you hit the ground, you're up again. He laid on that ground motionless for quite some time. They literally woke him up with smelling salt.
But here's the game. He's our future. I would sit him out for a month. But let's go ahead and just say it. It was a hard hit. It's football. That's how life is.
Bro.
I was praying for the dude.
I thought he was dead for a little bit.
Okay, that's a little exaggerated.
No,
I knew he was out
motionless.
I see how his hands was. But again, he's gonna have to sit out, and now we're on the third string. So with Hodges, the kid from Stanford, undrafted free agent, one of the all-time passers in 1AA history.
He's the FCS all-time leader in yards at 14,584.
That's great. So that could mean something, and it could mean, okay, just make sure you can pass the ball.
He's a 69% career in college passer.
Okay, what does that mean?
That means he's accurate.
Timmy Chang, Colt Brennan, I can name you a whole bunch of them that ain't do shit in the pro.
career touchdowns.
Okay. So who's the all-time passing leader in touchdowns in history?
Do what?
The all-time leading college passer in history, touchdowns and everything. What's his name?
You know I have no idea.
Okay, because it doesn't fucking matter because we're talking about the pros. So that's my point.
Listen, I'm
so
just
right
saying,
now, this is what we got to bank on
this
kid. He may be. I'm not saying he's not going to do bad. He has the huge challenge though, because you have that Chargers defense, which you know a lot about, They come to play.
Well, they're injured.
And last season, when we played against the Chargers,
they're beat up.
Although we almost beat them, they beat the hell out of Ben.
Hey,
I mean,
this is
both,
not. Look, they're beat
Melvin
up.
Ingram,
They're injured on defense.
Doesn't matter. They still playing good defense.
They're injured.
The only reason they're
injured.
They're injured because of Derwin James. Derwin James is out, but that line
and Ingram is out too.
No, because
yes.
as of this morning, they had Ingram as questionable to probable, not out.
He ain't gonna play.
So you still got Bosa. I don't care. I don't like the Bosa family because I think that it's a side note of racism with Nick and Joey backed them up, but that's a whole different subject for a whole different time. But the boy plays. So we have a challenge, and then you got Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, I got TJ Watt. So what?
And then we got Phillip Rivers who's still going to have a chip on his shoulder to this day because he always is going to have a chip on his shoulder because he feels he should have had a ring by now versus Ben and Eli. That's his own fault. He ain't produced. It is what it is. He's the Carmelo Anthony of that draft, so tough titty, you got to live with it, have fun. So I don't know what to tell you about that one. But our third stringer got to come to the rescue.
Overrated.
If he can play smart ball, we don't need him to go here and try to go deep 95 times. What we need to do is run quick plays, make sure Connor has to play. We may have to throw trick plays in the system, and Juju got to hang on to that ball. Because, again, we would have won the game if Juju didn't lost. Now, I'm not on the bandwagon with a lot of Steelers fans where they're sitting and say, trade Juju. That's absolutely stupid. Beyond stupid. This is why sometimes I have a problem with some of our Pittsburgh fans because they are for the moment. They get emotional. They get more emotional than Carl Thomas. But they get emotional about holding up about things that happen. Yes, Juju's fumbled the ball in 2 different crucial games. Last year with the Saints, this year with Beamer. Again, if Juju, I think he's motivated, hold on to that ball. The wide receiver, hey, it's time for the rookie, Deontay Johnson. He's showed out a couple of times. He's solid right now. He's a rookie. He's learning it. If he can ball out, we could pull up an upset because the defense is still there. The defense is solid. We don't have any injuries except for Vince Williams on defense. But our offense is all damn near second and third stringers. They're all young. Like now, I even did the calculations. We now have the second youngest offense, not including the line, just especially skilled players in the NFL, which is crazy considering we were one of the oldest last year and the year before. So Tomlin got to go ahead and realize, get with Randy Fassner, and y'all got to pull some magic out your hat. So we can't be traditional. We can't just go run, pass, forwards, and that's it. You got to do trick plays.
The coordinator's not very good.
Well, you talk about Phillip Rivers?
I'd say your offensive coordinator is not very good.
How many times have I said that? We're not going there with that. I've been on that bandwagon saying, why the hell we got rid of Todd Haley for 2 years now? Only good thing right now that makes the Steelers happy is Todd Haley got fired last year from the Browns. But Todd Haley made Ben Roethlisberger a 5,000-yard quarterback. Todd Haley was the one who set up all these schemes for Le'Veon to get the yardage he did, and AB to be happy, yada, yada, yada. The 3 Bs and why we're so tremendously good was because of an H, which was Haley. Not Randy Fassner last year, but because of Haley. Because basically Fassner, all he did was take Todd Haley's book and run with it. He didn't do really too many changes except for more inside running with James Conner because he's that type of back. Going to Conner, now we have Conner who's slightly banged up still with his knee, but he's held on to the ball. He went over 100 yards for the first time last game. But now we got the kid Benny Snell. So this is getting to my point about the third string running back. Benny Snell was our running back. I think we drafted him in the 4th round, All-American from Kentucky, which is commendable because typically everybody from the SEC is either Alabama, Georgia, or Florida, or LSU specifically in that running back position. So him being from Kentucky and getting that is something. They kind of peg him to Le'Veon's game. I've watched a couple of Kentucky highlights. I don't know about Le'Veon. I see more of a like Davin Cook type player, but I think this kid's shine. He does have a touchdown. He broke one in week 2 against Seattle for 23 yards, and I don't know for the life of me why Tomlin hasn't put this kid in more. But now it's time to shine, time to get that check. So do I have faith in him? Yeah, I'm going to give faith in him until he screws up too many times. He's a running back. If we can do a 2-back offense, which I keep saying is working, because if Jalen Samuels wouldn't have got hurt last game, and Tomlin kind of faded away from even putting the kid in, Snell in, we may have won the game just with tempo, but we didn't. It's what it is. We lost to Baltimore. Overrated. The only thing that's not overrated with the Baltimore is the kicker. I ain't going there with that. So, Snell wins. Snell can balance it out. If anything, I would like to see Connor run the ball, especially in the trenches, and maybe have Snell more of a utility back, passing, maybe run some – not passing, rushing the ball, maybe running some outside plays, maybe getting into the receiving core, because I think that's how we'll win. But we got to see, because I don't know what to expect out of Hodges. Again, this kid wasn't even on the roster. I watched the preseason games with him. He did pretty. It's preseason.
No, he played well last week.
He played well last week. Okay, great. But this is a week. This is a full week, full team. Let's see what happens. I'm not dissing him. I think sometimes when you jump in, you think I'm dissing him.
Worse with preparation?
No, I got to figure out what the hell he's going to do.
I'm just saying, he played pretty well for a guy that wasn't even practicing last week. This week he gets to practice.
You also got to realize a lot of times when you get put in the game and you're running off adrenaline, sometimes shit happens. Once you sit down and figure out things, sometimes it tweaks. It just depends. And also you got to run the defense. Baltimore's defense is good, but most of the Baltimore defense was not playing up to par. This defense wants to play because guess what? They're in your division, and they want to prove that they're still one of the elite ones in y'all division, considering the fact they're not number 1 or 2. Exactly my point. So right now, every game to them is a race to catch up to y'all. They're going to be definitely rooting for the Texans.
Well, duh. So, just like I'm going to be rooting for y'all.
So with that being said,
actually, they're a game behind the Raiders. They're 2-3.
2-3, right?
Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about this matchup. You got the Steelers. You got the Chargers. Y'all at home?
No, we're in San Diego. Monday night.
Los Angeles. Well, the good news is you'll still have home field advantage because the Chargers have no fans.
I did notice that, but I don't think they're going to. Like I said, I didn't understand the San Diego move anyway. Like from San Diego to LA, I didn't understand that.
Nobody does it now. They can't go back because San Diego didn't want them.
Right. I'm like, they're better off going to Oklahoma or something. Yeah, we'll see.
They'll take the Rams. San Diego would gladly take the Rams, but they don't want the Chargers. And the bad part is the Rams is the team that Los Angeles wants.
Right. Los Angeles wants the Rams and the Raiders, not the Rams and the Chargers. Just being real.
That's sad.
I'm telling you, they should move to Oklahoma. So that fan base, they always have fans.
So Phillip Rivers versus Delvin Hodges. Melvin Gordon versus James Conner and Benny Snell.
Melvin Gordon and Eckler.
And Eckler, who's still my starting running back in fantasy. I'm really mad that Melvin Gordon came back. I
told you that was going to happen.
I was like,
don't get too comfortable with him.
The matchup's common sense says the Chargers will win. The Chargers are 2-3. And I just don't have a lot of faith in Phillip Rivers. I'm going with the upset. I'm going to say...
Guess what I'm doing?
I'm going Steelers 19-13. Because Keenan Allen screwed me last week, too.
See, that's the only thing I'm worried about is Keenan Allen. Because last year, Keenan Allen went off for about $170 against us. He was the main reason why we lost, and that was because
Can you get pressure on Rivers?
Well, we got pressure on Rivers last year. We had T.J. Watt had 2 sacks on him, and Cameron Hayward had a sack.
Well,
the problem is when he did get the ball off, Keenan Allen running these little small slants was burning us, and he was burning Terrell Edmonds, and he was burning I forgot who our other corner was. Because Hayden was hurt, so they was picking on whoever the one guarding Artie Burns. Excuse me.
Yes, Artie
Keenan Allen Artie Burns was already burnt that game.
Oh,
regardless of the matter, we were in the game for most of it. We didn't get blown out, but this time, you know what the hell? I'm going for the upset special. Why not? I love my Steelers. Let's just go ahead and say it. Upset special. Steelers, go ahead. 24-21. Let's get it. Boy, got my fingers crossed on this one.
Now that you said that Keenan Allen treats you all like T.Y. Hilton treats the Texans, I'm going to have to
I ain't say all that. I didn't say all that. No. T.Y. Hilton
he's a Texan killer.
That's a whole different ballgame.
He's a Texan killer.
He came with that Joker mask and just that's scary.
He must be from Dallas. Anyway,
wherever.
I'm gonna say that the Steelers win. I'm gonna change my score now to 27-24.
Okay, you're going high. I don't think it's going to get that high, but okay.
I'm going to hope. Anyway, so we doing good, bro. We got about 10 minutes left. So we can talk about the NBA and Zion.
Balling. I love the kid. The future is real. But I don't like the comparisons to LeBron.
I think that's stupid.
I don't like the comparisons to LeBron. Him coming in being compared to LeBron is
just unnecessary
pressure.
That's a
lot of pressure.
Unnecessary pressure.
A lot of pressure. Because even LeBron came in with a lot of hype, but even LeBron didn't get thrown into being compared to Jordan or Kobe.
At the end of the first half today, against the Bulls, he had 16. He was 6 or 7 from the field.
Right. I'm on and off looking at it, and then I'm also looking at the scoreboard. Zion is going to be nice. The combo with Zion and Lonzo Ball, especially with Lonzo Ball finally getting the independence from listening to his dumbass dad, is going to be something. If Lonzo, and he fixed his shot. Oh, my God. If you see Lonzo Ball's shot now, it looks normal. It doesn't look like it's decrepit. So it could be something. Zion coming in. Now, the other thing I did notice is they also now taking away people's height. So now that Zion was going from 6'8" to 6'7" to now 6'6".
Oh, he's shrinking?
Yeah, I think that's like by the end of the day, because if I'm 6'5"3/4, that means me and Zion are the same height. So I want to go to this game. My man Brandon, if you listening, hey, yo, can you holler at me, get some tickets?
Look, brother.
We'll talk about that. Hook a brother up on that. But if he's actually 6'6" and I'm only standing next to him and I'm only a quarter inch shorter than him, then God bless him even more. That means he is killing. That means his jumps are crazy high.
Yeah.
So either way, he's the future. I like it, and he's the future of the NBA. And
I just said Hops.
Hops is an understatement with this kid. He got a 43 inch.
We got Mike Hops.
Do we have Mike Hops? Yes. Have you? Dude.
I watch.
He could.
I'm watching him now.
He could go down as probably one of the best dunkers of all time outside of that man called Air Canada. But he dunks. He dunks power.
I know I'm being old, but Dominique was pretty special.
Yeah, you are. But that's what it reminds me of on dunking.
I know these
he
kids
dunks like
don't know
Dominique.
who that is, but
he doesn't have finesse to his game. That's why if they ask him to do a dunk contest, I really think it would be overrated for him because he dunks with power. He's a power dunker. Through the legs with power, windmill with power, behind backwards tomahawk, all that power. That's who he reminds me of. If you want to talk about a dunker, it's not Vince nor Mike or LeBron. It's Dominique Wilkins, which gets me excited. Like, yo, he's going to end up probably breaking a rim or something because he dunks with power. Dominique dunked with so much power back in the days, and yes, it's showing our age too because I remember those Hawks days.
Oh, okay.
But that's who he reminds me of. Yeah, I know. So we remember those days, but I ain't going front.
Right.
I can remember Barkley back in the Suns days. I can barely remember Barkley as a Sixer.
Yeah, I don't have that memory. Only a Sun.
Ooh, yeah. You got to go back sometime. But either way,
I'm a late
Zion is going to be a great game. I'm about to say Zion is going to be nice. If he can stay healthy. Now, I do agree with a lot of the critics. Him being his height at his weight is a little bit concerning. Not as much as like Shannon Sharp and a couple of.
Nah, he needs to lose some weight. Let's be
not
honest.
as much as Shannon Sharp and all them. Like they're killing him. Like he's fat.
He needs to lose at least 10 pounds, 10, 15.
I agree. I give you that. Yeah. And the only reason is because it's bad on his knees.
But,
for a power dunker to be on his knees like that.
But I think he'll lose it because the NBA schedule is a lot more rigorous than the NCAA.
Right. And the thing is they'll have him with a nutrition. No, if he stay away from New Orleans food, period. Remember, he's in one of the with true. All the boudin and pontchartrain. Yeah,
you had the hot sausage down there.
I haven't.
Oh my god!
But
you can't.
I gotta try that out
because it will mess you up. But that stuff is awesome. Sorry. You want to talk about the Sixers? Can I nix the Sixers? Because it's something that I said I wasn't going to do. I'm going to go ahead and do it.
I just want to say this. Shout out to Ben Simmons hitting threes. Watch now. That's all I'm going to say. Watch the Sixers play.
So he's gonna make us go into Philadelphia for our basketball market since Pittsburgh doesn't have a team. But I keep trying to tell him that this is a small market sports organization. Anyway, last week during the Kansas City Chiefs-Colts game, Travis Kelce shoved offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, and I'm a little bit perplexed at the lack of coverage this has gotten. When we literally put on every damn network when Aaron Rodgers is yelling at his head coach, Travis Kelce assaulted his offensive coordinator last week, and yes, they hugged it out afterwards. Yes, Eric Bieniemy forgave him, but on national TV, he shoved the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs. If the races of these two people were opposite, if Eric Bieniemy had been the white offensive coordinator and Travis Kelce had been the black tight end, everyone in America would be having a damn fit right now at what happened on the sideline of the Kansas City Chiefs game last week. The fact that we aren't is an issue for me because Travis Kelce has a history of losing control of his emotions. And he assaulted a man on the sideline last week and thought that because he apologized afterwards, it's all good. Travis Kelce needs to learn to keep his damn hands to himself. You don't put your hands on your offensive coordinator. He's not wearing pads, and he's not trying to tackle you. He was coaching you because you dropped too many damn passes. And guess what, Travis? Last week, that's exactly what happened. Do better this week and make sure your freaking offensive coordinator is untouched on the sideline. Sorry.
I was about to say, okay, so I knew this was coming. I just thought we looked at it in different perspectives, but at the end of the day, you're right. Don't touch anybody, because basically, if Eric B wanted to put some hands on Kelce, this would have been a bigger matter. He did become the bigger man and walk away.
No, he wasn't a bigger man. Players and coaches got in between them. Because I know Eric Bieniemy wanted to freaking light Travis Kelce's ass up. Kudos to the Kansas City Chiefs that were in the area that got in between those two big men. Because Bieniemy is no slouch.
Nah, going back to his days in the pros and in college, He's a big dude. He's a big little dude. But,
Just saying, I'm still a Kelsey fan.
This may be we'll see how long it lasts as far as Kelsey and his career goes. Because you can't keep doing that shit. And as the older he gets and the more superstar he wants to be, it ain't happening.
And
right now, he is probably the more.
If he keeps dropping passes and his coaches have to yell at him more. Oh, by the way, they suspended Marcus Peters for simply yelling at coaches on a team bus after a game. I'm just saying.
Well, we'll see about this happening. Maybe they'll get together and be calm on this one. So I get your rant. I appreciate it. I get that one on that. So in the same note, keep your hands to yourself or get some hands put to your face and deal with it, because he would have probably lost that fight. Meaning Kelsey would have lost.
Yeah.
So that's
Kelsey looked a lot imposing. Like, he looked way bigger than Bieniemy. Anyway, that's our show for tonight. I'm KCReginaldjr.
Your man J-Dub in the building.
Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week here at Underdawg Sportz.
Peace.
Hiring you as our wedding planner was a huge mistake.
Ma'am, I told you there is nothing I can do about your fiancé's dance moves.
No, the wedding venue and catering bundle. You should have warned me it would be like whatever this is.
But you wanted this lovely barn setting. So rustic. So many lace doilies. Look at all the mason jars.
Yeah, I really didn't think the farm animals would be in the barn during the wedding.
Don't worry, they won't be here long. Did you order the beef or the chicken?
Stuck in a bad bundle? Get a great one. Bundle AT&T Fiber and DirecTV and get a $100 reward card. Requires 24-month TV and 12-month internet agreements. Redemption required. Limited availability. May not be in your area. See if you qualify at att.com/bundle. AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. Subject to change. New approved customers. Requires qualifying TV package. Minimum $49.99 a month for 12 months after discounts. Price higher in second year. And internet 25 megs or higher. Minimum $40 a month. Equipment lease, early termination, equipment non-return, taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. Call or visit att.com for full details.
Can I get a drum roll, please? Because this is big. It's time for the Xfinity Best Deal of the Year on internet and TV. We're talking huge savings. And ask about even more savings when you add Xfinity Mobile. Okay, that's it. Now you can hit the... There we go. That's simple, easy, awesome. The Xfinity Best Deal of the Year ends September 23rd. To learn more, click, call, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas.